Hey guys, it's Tom here, back with some more INFJ related talk. So, I wanted to talk about something that sounds a bit funny, but it is actually something that is quite prevalent, in fact, very prevalent in my life, and I was interested to see if there's any other INFJs out there who relate to this. So, what it is this almost constant need or feeling to be doing something or be involved with something that in some way will eventually work towards saving the world or changing the world, at least changing it. But it feels like it has to be something huge, which is why I'm using the word save. Because I know there's plenty of people out there doing great things that are gradually changing the world, and I've even been involved in some things myself, yet it's still left me kind of wanting. When I think in my mind's eye about being involved with something, it always has to be some big, great, huge, purposeful thing. Like, well, millions of people are affected. Maybe that's just egomania, but I've seen this crop up again with other INFJs, and it seems to be a thing. And I would just like to kind of just go into it a bit more and kind of understand why that is. Because for me personally, I feel like I can see and understand so many reasons why there are things happening in the world that are having a negative effect on the world and people. And sometimes it frustrates me that these things don't seem to be talked about very much, or maybe other people can't see them. And it's like, oh, if only that would change, or if only people would see that, if only people would question that more, the world could change. And it's almost a feeling of kind of watching people who are blindfolded walking towards a cliff, and they're about to fall off the edge of the cliff, and you can see it happening, and you kind of trying to shout to them, but they just ignore you because they can't see it for themselves. And it's just this kind of constant feeling that I want to do something to kind of make some big, huge difference in the world. But the issue is, it becomes such an overbearing and quite clearly unrealistic goal to set yourself that it almost prevents you from actually doing anything in the first place. And I was just thinking about this because it's kind of always naturally there when I'm always thinking about my future and kind of what I want to do. But I really was just had to pinpoint it and think, wow, this actually holds me back because it makes me feel that unless I'm doing some kind of big self-sacrificing thing or doing some huge kind of taking some huge action that is going to affect millions of people, what's the point in doing anything? um, it's crazy. It's like, oh, I can't be bothered to get out of bed in the morning and make myself some toast, but if I had something that made me feel like I could go and I don't know, stand in front of millions of people and inspire them to change the world, get me there. And it's just this complete ridiculously opposite end of the spectrum of, on one hand, finding it kind of difficult to just do the most basic tasks to fulfill a daily living routine because they're just so mundane, or you have to concentrate on one thing for more than 5 minutes without having being able to go into your mind's eye or your limitless imagination, to then wanting to do this huge grand thing that will be kind of echo through the ages and make a real tangible effect to the planet, because I just feel that I just have there's so much empathy there, and I just believe that it is possible for the human race to be doing so much better than it is. Um, but it's just this kind of dissonance between wanting that and the realistic expectation of even achieving it, and how that becomes something that can, like I say, it actually stops you from doing anything, because it makes you think, what's the point? What's the point of having a normal life if I can't be doing something special with it? What's the point of trying to develop myself in a career if it's not going to have some huge impact on the world? What's the point? What's the point of anything? And I think this is why when you start especially an INFJ, starts thinking about this question for too long, you can get fully into kind of existentialism and start seeing like, what's the point? What's the point of this? What's the point of this? What's the point of anything? And to really kind of see the world from that kind of perspective. Which, I don't know, depending on your character, might be an enlightening thing or it could be a depressing thing. Depends what it is that you really feel that you would like to see happen in the world. And I find I go from phases where I feel like I guess I fall back into what I could call kind of, I don't know, wanting to be some kind of rebel and rebel against the established order, the man, the system, and to try and point out all the flaws to people and say, what's going on? Why are we letting this happen? Why is no one standing up to this insanity that's happening? Why are you all just allowing yourselves to be pushed around like this? To then thinking, nah, that's not the way to do it. That never works. Revolutions always just seem to replace one dictator with another. If you're trying to change power, you're just going to give it more power because you're just contributing to the fear behind that. No, we should focus more on the individual, more on ourselves, more on our consciousness, more on love, more on fun, laughter, humor. But at the same time, if you only focus on that, whilst someone else has the power to kill and maim and doesn't care about any of that stuff, what do you do about that? It's a constant question that's in my head nearly 24 hours a day. I feel like I have one foot in normal world, as in, trying to get your needs met, trying to figure out what you're doing with your life and watching TV, going on the internet, and just kind of being involved in just normal mundane reality. And then I've got a foot in this other world that is all this about these big philosophical questions about life, the universe and everything, and how do we solve the problems on our planet without being too consumed by the mundane day-to-day aspects and losing sight of what we're actually here to do and how we can make it a better place for future generations and not just be constantly distracted by this constant barrage of by and large useless media and frivolous things, but at the same time without taking it all too seriously. It's just a constant mindfuck, to be quite honest with you, and I find it really kind of ties me up in knots and loops sometimes, and it stops me from enjoying my own life because I feel like almost sometimes guilty for just enjoying myself when I know there's so much problems and issues in the world, which if I was more ignorant of, it wouldn't be such a problem because I'll be ignorant of them. But because I've invested so much hours and days and even years of my life in wanting to know everything about the world, what's going on, what is going on with politics, what is going on behind the scenes, what's going on in all walks of life, what's going on with spirituality, what's going on with the human being, the human psyche, everything. And I've learned so much about all of that, and I can see it, and I can see the effects, both positive but a lot of the time negative, that it's having on society, and especially learning about social conditioning and mass media and all of these things, and wanting to kind of do something about it. But at the same time, just want to be a happy person and want to live a life that is kind of peaceful and fulfilling and fun and relaxing. Myself, and it's a constant struggle. It's this constant battle of, do I just go off by my own and try and live a life that is just for me, or do I throw myself into the fray and use my knowledge and my awareness of what I've learnt and the insights I've had to try and help make a difference for the greater good? It's a real tricky one. And it's something that I struggle with, like I say, almost on a daily basis. It's kind of like the last thing I think of when I go to sleep and the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning. So when I have that clarity, I'm like, oh my God, there's all this crazy shit happening in the world and it's insane. And we need to do something about it. I mean, let's just take the US presidential elections that are coming up soon in November. It's like, it's insane. It's crazy. The most powerful and supposed democratic country in the world has... its people have to choose between Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton to lead them. and they're both completely shit. They're psychopaths, and they're just, the whole system's completely broken. It's corrupt. It's the fact that the American people have the choice between Donald Trump, a man who's just recently been proven to score higher on this of the traits of being a psychopath than Adolf Hitler did, to a woman who has already spent 8 years in the White House as the First Lady and is essentially part of the furniture. What kind of choice is that for a democratic, supposedly forward-thinking country that is supposed to be the beacon of human civilization? It's a complete and utter farce. It's a joke. And where are the people in this world, on this planet, who are standing up to that? Why do we just sit back and just allow it to happen? Yeah, oh yeah, we'll give these people airtime. We'll give them the kind of the respect to kind of believe that they are important. But we shouldn't. We should be ridiculing them. It's insane. It's insane, and these people have the power on this planet. It's why this world is fucked. You know, it's just why no normal person on this planet wants to be involved with going to war with other nations, bombing civilians, attacking this or fighting over this or that. You know, the vast majority of humans just want to try and get on with life and work together and be happy. But these people, these governments, these power-crazed institutions that just want profit and power and influence are just fucking the planet up. And there seems to be no one or nothing that's really kind of standing up to it. It's like, where have all those people gone? Those people who, the real men, the real women of the world, who can see the how crazy it is and can actually provide a better vision. Because we're just putting our futures and our families' futures into the hands of complete maniacs, of psychopaths, of power-hungry people who, like I say, are just, they're part of the furniture and the fabric of this system that is just not working, not only just in America, but around the rest of the world now. I don't know, maybe it has to happen. Maybe we have to realise just how bad it is, you know? Maybe it's like we're in the same position that the Roman Empire was in before it collapsed, you know? It's just, it went too far and it got caught up in its own power too much and it all started to crumble, you know? And unfortunately people the Romans, they paid the price for that. But maybe that's what's happening now, I don't know. But anyway, sorry, I went off on a huge rant there at the end of the video, but what I was basically just trying to say is that this feeling of always feeling like you need to be involved in some bigger than yourself purpose or mission is something that, as an INFJ, I find both alluring, but on the other hand, it gets in the way of just actually living a life for yourself and kind of enjoying life a lot of the time. But I don't know, maybe that is kind of the curse, but also the reason that INFJs are here. Who knows? But there is obviously something that I think is going on there, and I'll be very interested if you, as an INFJ or not as an INFJ, have an opinion on that, or you can relate to anything I've said. And please share it, because only by talking about these subjects and communicating about them, then maybe we could actually start to affect some change, because that, I think, is what is going to have to happen, whether we like it or not. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I shall speak to you soon. Peace out.